The show is made possible in part by its supporting sponsors: Blue Water Power Group of Companies, Joe's Discount Tire, and AskGuy.ca. I know I say it every week, but I love going into people's homes when they invite me in anyway, because you never know what you're going to get and what they're all about. But this gentleman here I've known 30 years probably, maybe, John DeAndrea.
Maybe more.
Maybe more. We'll leave it at 30. Well, everybody knows you're older than me anyway, but thanks for having me here. And
thanks for coming.
I'm grateful to be here. Of course, I've been here for some swim time and other time.
I've had a few beverages in this space.
But your home is very welcoming, though. Like you would it be fair to say that you're part of a lot of different circles?
I don't know about that. I just like people.
Well, yeah, right. You know, from all walks of life, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I've always been involved with new house construction. So a lot of times when we have people over, it's some of them are trades.
Yeah.
Some of them are professionals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that honestly doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
If they're good people, they're good people.
That's right. That's just the bottom line for all of it. Let's go back to the beginning, as I always do. You were born and raised here in Sarnia?
Born right here in Sarnia, St. Joseph's Hospital.
Yeah. And all your family was born here?
All my siblings were all born right here in Sarnia at St. Joe's. And I was actually fortunate enough when I had my first daughter that we're in the birthing room.
Oh, wow.
And the nurse, we were waiting quite some time. The nurse went and pulled out my birth records because she had started in the 60s. And I was born in 55. She said, "Oh, I can find this." And I'm talking a ledger.
Right.
Like it actually looked like an accounting ledger.
Right.
Great big book. The old flip to the page, December 30th, 1955. Oh, she gave me a breakdown of mom and dad's names, all the procedures they did to my mother, exact time I was born. They had it all. And then she says, "Do you know that your child is going to be born in the same room as you?" And I go, "That's not possible. We didn't have birthing rooms back in 1955. She goes, No. This used to be the original delivery room. And then when we built the new one, it moved across the street. And this became the birthing room. So your first child, will be born in the exact same room as you."
Wow.
How'd
that make you feel?
Oh, that
cool.
was kind of cool. I thought, wow.
Yeah.
It was almost 30 years later.
Yeah. You stayed here, like you came here, and your parents came over here, but they met. Like they didn't know each other before they came here, but they met here.
Actually, it's not the way it is today. It was just after the Second World War. Things were pretty bleak in Italy, and my grandfather, my dad's dad, he had decided that he was going to move the family to Canada. But unfortunately, they didn't have an abundance of cash, so they sold off some livestock that they may have had and bought a one-way ticket for my grandfather.
Is that right?
So he came, and it was 1952, and he was here by himself. He actually boarded in a French family's home down in Blue Water.
Blue Water.
Down literally across from Chemical Valley.
Yeah, isn't that something?
It was. And so he worked for about a year until he could save enough money to send for my father, because he was the only son of 5 kids that they had, but they're all female. So my dad got the next ticket over. And that's my dog.
Oh, we got to get Lola?
Yeah, hang on a second. I'm going to just let my dog.
That's okay.
Lola,
we knew this was maybe going to happen. That's
go see Mom.
He's got to...
I apologize.
No, that's okay.
So
that's Lola. We'll probably hear from her again in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, no kidding. Anyways, so he sent for my dad, and then they both boarded at this French family's home down in Blue Water, and they both continued to work collectively to send for my grandmother and my 4 aunts. So that's the way they did it back in the day.
Right, right.
And it took a period of maybe 3 years before they got them all over.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad came in 53, and so he was here. He was only like 16.
Wow.
And you knew Rocco, my dad.
Yes, I did. I did.
So,
I was very young, but my mother actually.
You weren't this young.
No, my mother actually.
Because my dad only passed in 94.
Yeah.
I've known you longer than that.
Yeah, yeah. But my mother, when I was younger, I don't know if my mom had a hidden crush on him or something, because she always talked about him. My parents had the swimming pool business, right?
Okay.
Our pools, and so he was around. I think Holden's lived next door, I think, to you guys.
Oh yeah, on Ryerson, but that was in '83. My dad built that house.
So for whatever reason, my mom knew him. My dad probably did too, but she always spoke about him, and I don't know what it was, but
yeah, my dad was a pretty charismatic guy.
He was
a good-looking man, and so anyways, so he's like 16. He's in Canada, doesn't speak English, right? Well, when you're a male teenage boy, and all of a sudden you've got all these women around you, you have to learn to speak the language quickly. Right. So he did, and within a very short period of time, he became very fluent in English.
Yeah,
and so at that time too, there wasn't a huge number of Italians in Sarnia. There might have been a few hundred. But during that period, at one point in the 60s and 70s, there was probably 8,000 or 9,000 Italians here in Sarnia. Unfortunately, many of the elderly ones have passed, and a lot of the younger ones have moved away. But there's still quite a few in Sarnia. But so, anyways, so my dad was here. He was just a teenage kid, basically. And every time a new Italian family would come in from Italy, which there was quite a few immigrating at the time, the community, the Italian community got together, welcome them, support them, whatever. And my mother's family came in group, and so they were coming. So my dad and at the time his dad went to welcome them, and my dad being at that time probably 17, 18, took a liking to this young girl that just came over from Italy, and they basically got together. My mom was 16 and he was like 19.
Wow.
A year later, they were married, and I was born. My mom was only
different times, eh?
My mom was 17 years old when I was born. My dad was just over 20, and they were just young, new to the country immigrants, but they met actually here in Sarnia.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's kind of peculiar because a lot of them come from Italy.
And is it also part of that culture? I guess is there any prearrangement ever happens?
No, not so much. Back in those days, the Italian fathers had a lot to say about what his daughters would do, right? So what inevitably would happen is when they got a little older and they realized he's not going to allow me to date somebody, what most Italian women would do when they got to that age, get a little headstrong, and they would just elope with whoever they wanted, at which point they'd come back and announce, we eloped, and we're going to get married, and blah, blah, blah. Now that you've got no choice, right? As a dad, you can't say, like, no, you're not.
Right.
Everybody knows that you elope with him, but I'm not going to allow you to marry him. No, you're pretty much screwed. You got to say, okay, God bless you. We're going to have a wedding.
Yeah.
And that's the way a lot of Italian marriages happen. Not unless the father was actually in favor or approved of this gentleman, then it was no issue because it would just happen naturally. But if it was one of those situations where dad was being very dad-like, they just elope.
Yeah, great story. And of course, then that happens, and you and your siblings are all born, and you stayed here.
Yeah.
And like probably, was there ever a time of thinking like I'm going to go somewhere else, or did you just love Sarnia and see opportunity here, obviously?
You know what? As kids, what do we know, right?
Yeah, right.
So as a kid, my dad was the head of the labor union, and he had done such a good job that they basically had him on the executive board of the International.
Right.
So he was in Toronto a lot, dealing with provincial bargaining and stuff. They actually wanted him to move to Toronto and be a permanent employee of the International in Toronto, and not have to bother with, every 4 years getting reelected and stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The move. But at that time, all of our family, like our extended family, was all here in Sarnia.
Mm-hmm.
As kids, all of our friends are here in Sarnia.
Mm-hmm.
The thoughts of moving to some other city just didn't appeal to anybody,
mm-hmm.
right? So at the time, the kids didn't want to move. My mother had her parents still alive, and they were all here, and her brothers that were all here.
Right.
Nobody wanted to move.
There's all this strong family connection.
Yeah.
And that's really important, right?
But so probably in retrospect, it was a big mistake for my dad not to have taken that job, because it was a great opportunity for him in his career with the unions. But nobody was in favor of it. So he got stuck here in Sarnia with us.
Right. But as it turned out, I mean, it's been great for you, and I think all family that I know anyway that have taken advantage of opportunity here. You got into real estate.
Yep,
and,
very young age.
You actually, I think you invented social media, or what it looked like back in the day, in the sense of before
social media,
right?
existed,
Yeah, like you would take, and I know I've heard the story about taking clippings and stuff, but share that with everybody who might not know.
Actually, I would like to take credit for it.
Of course you would.
I successfully used it.
Yeah, no,
but
great ideas.
But the original idea came from Al Beneteau.
Oh yeah,
he owned a menswear store here in Sarnia, and when I was very young and started to make a little bit of money, I was getting some custom-made suits through him.
Oh, okay.
And then I started Titan Real Estate with Mel Lynch and Bob Brennan, and the three of us had a nice announcement in the local paper. I was pretty pumped. I was only 20 years old.
Say you were young.
I was very young still. I was 20 years old and an equal partner in this real estate company. And Al clipped out the announcement ad out of the paper, and stuck it on his Al Beneteau menswear letterhead, wrote me a nice little note congratulating us on the new company, and we're in the news, and handwritten, signed it, mailed it to me. I was pretty pumped. I'm 20 years old, and these guys are successful business people in this town, and he took the time to send that to me. I thought, wow.
Not enough of you to do it. Yeah.
Wow. I was just so impressed. So I had just bought my first house, and obviously at 20, most of my friends were still in university and going to school, and they didn't. Was it too strong? You're going to edit that?
This part will be edited. Shit, went down the wrong pipe.
No.
Wave the arm. Motherfucker.
That'd definitely be it. You take your time.
Mother.
Take your time.
I'm just waving my arm so I know where to cut. Okay, wherever you were.
No, so Al Beneteau took the time to send it to me, and I was like pretty flattered that he had actually done that. So as I said, I was only 20, and I had just bought my first house in Wiltshire, which at the time was one of the newest subdivisions around. So needless to say, every weekend, all of my friends who were in university or still in school or living with their parents still, because most of them at that time weren't, they'd come to my house and we'd party. Keeping in mind the drinking age was 18 at that time, not even 19. It was actually dropped to 18 and then put back up.
That's right.
But at that, so they'd all come to my house. We'd drink, we'd party, because I was the only one of the group that owned a house, right?
Right.
So it was fun. But I had Al's clipping that he mailed me. Like I'm talking snail mail, mailed me.
Yeah, right.
it was on my mantle, on my fireplace. And everybody that came into my house for probably a good 6 months, I said, you want to see something really cool? Al Benetel sent me this. And I showed him all the letter, and everybody, whoa, wow, on and on about this letter. And then it dawned on me after about the 6th month, wow, I just done a lot of advertising for Al Benetel's menswear over the last 6 months, because I told everybody that walked into my house.
You're proud of it.
I was pretty pumped. So I thought, maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, the idea was his.
Yeah.
I basically took it and ran with it, but I did it for almost 25 years daily.
And then moving forward to today, like you've still had people reach out to you, taking pictures of the picture that you sent them and said, I still have this. Like, congratulations on your new baby.
Because how many times do most people have their picture in the newspaper?
No, that's right.
So when it happened, right, and I would cut it out and then send it to them, congratulations. They all saved it as an extra copy.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had a copy that they got from their own paper, but they'd always keep it, right? But they always kept it with my letterhead, with my picture on my letterhead and my signature on it. They always kept it like that. And then it was, it just evolved to, like, at first it was mostly just people that I actually knew and met.
Right.
But then it got to any positive story, I was going to do it, because from a marketing perspective, it just seemed like a gold mine. So I was going to do it, and I did. So for every morning for probably 25 years, I'd walk into my office. The secretaries from the night before had prepared all the clippings on my letterhead, stacked on my desk, pour myself a cup of coffee, and the first thing I did every morning, read the article, congratulate them for whatever it was, their wedding, their birthday, birth of a new child, whatever it was. I wrote it, hand wrote it, signed it, mailed it. Probably, I don't know, 15, 20 every day. Yeah, for 25 years.
That's awesome.
So there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
And especially when it was a birth announcement or something like that, I would always address the letter to the child.
Oh, that's cool.
Not to the parents.
Right.
Because it always ended up in the baby book. Baby's first letter, right?
Yeah.
So it always ended up in the baby book, and they all saved. All of them did.
And then you move forward and you turned that into modern day social media. I mean, great idea, right? And you started, You Gotta Love Sarnia. I'm sure everybody who's watching this, if they don't know what that is, you're under a rock there, because you got over 20,000
members? We're 29,500. We're approaching 30,000 members of You Gotta Love Sarnia.
That's crazy. And what made you start that?
Well, first of all, I knew nothing about social media.
You figured it out pretty good.
My beautiful wife got into real estate, and I said to her, I can help you with the marketing. The only thing I know absolutely nothing about was social media. So I said, I'm not a moron. I said, I'm going to learn it, and I promise you I'll do it better than anybody else in 6 months. But I said, I got to learn. I don't even know. So can you help me out and start me a Facebook page? Because I don't even know how to do that.
I remember you asking me about it, actually. I was like, okay.
Yeah, good luck to you. So anyways, so what I did was I started in 2014 with trying to promote Lisa on social media, because, like I said, I was astute enough to understand that it is a pretty powerful tool.
Oh, yeah.
Not anything that I ever used back in the day, but I did do a lot of marketing and promoting for Titan Real Estate and myself. So you got to understand, I retired before Google was incorporated. Google was incorporated until 98, right? So pretty much the way we know the internet today was like 98. I wasn't on a computer in 98. No. In 2005, 2010.
I remember when you got your first smartphone.
Yeah, probably about then. So what happened was I started to do Lisa's marketing and promoting on social media. And the reason I'm predominantly on Facebook for her is that just the information that I managed to learn through the webinars that I took to try and learn this thing was that Facebook controls 70% of the global social media market.
Yep.
That only leaves 30%. So you got Instagram, they second place with 12%.
Right.
So between Facebook and Instagram, we got 82% and it's owned by the same people, right?
Right.
So I figured, listen, if I just stick with Instagram and Facebook, I got 82% covered. For someone who is intimidated by social media, it just simplified it for me.
Yeah.
So I could just focus on that. I didn't have to learn TikTok, Snap, WhatsApp, all that other stuff. I didn't have to learn all that crap.
Yeah.
So I just stuck to that, right? So that's what I did. So then it was truly as powerful as I thought, right? So Lisa's doing well, and all of a sudden I start thinking, you know what? If I'd have had this in the 70s, if I'd have had this in the 70s to promote Sarnia, Sarnia would probably have 500,000 people by now, because we were just getting inundated with the blob in the river, chemical valley, pollution. That's all we got from
a lot of negative
the
press.
old press, right? The old press. That's all we got.
Yeah.
And we didn't have these, these independent, basically press people on social media promoting anything, right? So we didn't have that. I thought, and I always loved Sarnia. So I've always loved Sarnia. So I just thought, and I've often said, you gotta love Sarnia. Like, if you've never been here, you're gonna love Sarnia. You gotta love it, because you come here in the summer, there's no place I'd rather be.
My friend calls it and I say this in a lot of shows, David Noel always says this is the Southwestern Ontario Riviera.
It's the Riviera. It's the Blue Coast. It's whatever you want to call it.
It's beautiful.
Or however you want to promote it.
But you really did.
Beautiful.
Like, you got to love Sarnia.
No, and I said that, and I used to say that. So I thought, I'm going to start a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Because I can't be the only one that loves Sarnia. I'm born and raised here. I never left. I never went to university. I never went to school. I never left the city. So for 70 years, I've been here.
And you can wake up and go into, one of the things that I've enjoyed about it is you can wake up, go into, you got to love Sarnia. We got a lot of great photographers here. They regularly post, and it's like, to the point now where it's like, I'm looking for, Barry Loxton's photography or whatever, looking for their shots.
We have some of the best photographers.
Oh, amazing.
And I don't care what they're shooting. It's just really nicely done. We got some great contributors. We've, through the COVID thing, we allowed some advertising just only to help out some of our local restaurateurs, because they were devastated, right? Like the whole thing. Yeah. They were devastated. So I thought, you know what, we do not allow advertising. And as I worded, blatant advertising. Like if you take a picture and you've got the casino in the background, it's on the river. Yeah. Okay, that's really not advertising, although technically it's promoted.
Well, like I share the show in there, and there's a couple little sponsors quickly there, but it's not about that. It's about,
not blatant advertising.
This one will be allowed in the group.
Well, we'll have to see if nobody complains about it. Right. Because if somebody's complaining about it, bottom line is this.
People don't want to see all that.
On You Gotta Love Sarnia. Yeah. And this is what I said from the outset. No negativity. Mm-hmm. If it's rude, the comment even, if it's rude, and you have to think about whether it's rude, is rude. So don't post it. Like, basically what I said is puppies, kittens, unicorns, and rainbows. If it ain't fitting in those categories, do not post it here, because we're not into politics, which I love politics. I'm not posting that crap on You Gotta Love Sarnia. I don't want anybody else to.
Because it's got to be positive.
It's divisive. Politics is divisive.
Yeah.
All that crap's just too divisive. I wanted just a positive group on Sarnia.
And it's
we've had enough negative crap over the years with Toronto media, and
so let me. I'm going to stir the pot a little bit here. We had discussion before, as you know. Okay, if you follow John online,
do not mention politics,
right? But on your personal Facebook timeline, I mean, you really wake people up. And I mean, like every morning you're up and you say good morning to everybody and you wish them all a great day. But then you do have strong beliefs and stuff. And you and I, as long as we've been friends, we've disagreed on many different things, but we're still friends. No. And the reason I say that is there's a way to put it out there. And like you're a strong personality, but I mean, what is it that, like, where do you come up with some of this stuff that you post? Because like even Jennifer and I, well, yeah, like what, and I'm saying what some of these people are watching or thinking. They're like, oh boy, Burrows has really got him under control here, but I really don't. I mean, it's the space though, right? Like you do shake your head at a lot of stuff, and then you just kind of say WTF, but you really say it, right?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. For the first 4 or 5 years of social media, I was really timid, believe it or not, about what I was posting.
Well, because you worry about your brand, right? And
exactly.
how would it
I was
affect
more
Lisa?
concerned about this and this and that. Now
you don't care about that?
Well, I do. I honestly do. But
does she come to you like?
You know what?
Hey, Trump, you shouldn't say that.
what? Yeah. You know what? It's gotten to the point where I figure if I'm like every other meek and mild person that doesn't want to rock the boat and lets it go, I'm afraid of what's going to happen to Canada and the United States.
If you don't.
And people say, well, why do you even care about the United States? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if they catch a cold, we get pneumonia here. Our economy here in Canada is so contingent on them doing well that when they're not, it directly affects us plus some. So, I'm not an American. Yeah, whatever. I have strong beliefs about the economy. I've run not just real estate businesses. I've run other businesses. I understand economics.
Yep.
What I see happening isn't sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
It just isn't going to work. So I'm going to say it now. And I said to Lisa, I'm sorry. I have to do this. And if it affects you, I apologize. But I'm going to do it because I just don't feel.
I feel like you do it in a way like some people. I mean, you get some debates going there.
Yeah, and that's good.
That's absolutely, because we don't all agree. We shouldn't all agree. I think it's how we do it, and I think I in the beginning I remember seeing it and I went, all right, John. Like,
I'll be honest with you, I get sucked in sometimes too, right?
Yeah,
I get sucked in sometimes. My intent is always.
But I respect what you post at the same time, and I think most people do.
I try to keep it light and make a point, but just blah, and then all of a sudden someone goes, chirp, and then you're an asshole. Okay. Oh yeah. And it starts. So I do apologize because I have. You catch
yourself sometimes though, and then you just go, okay.
I definitely get caught up in it sometimes, and I regret it later.
Okay.
I don't care.
That's enough
for politics.
That's what
you told me no politics.
That's what I wanted you to admit, right? There you go. But I appreciate it more now than I did a few years ago, and there's different reasons for that. But that's another story. So. Because honestly, and we had some fun with it for a little while. We should probably do that. It was like, good morning, everyone. And I'm up before John or whatever, we had a little battle going there. And then I was just like, I'm not getting up that early.
I'm not getting up that early to beat him.
So I scheduled a couple of them to pretend like I was up in the morning.
That's funny.
To beat you.
That's funny.
Because I just wanted to win a couple of times.
I wish I could sleep until 6:37.
Right?
I wish.
Yeah,
I just can't.
What would you say? I have a pretty good idea because I see it sometimes too. Even now, I go the other day I was in a group. It was like, "There's nothing to do in Sarnia," and I think to myself, I've done a show for almost 13 years about stuff to do in Sarnia. And what would you say to a person who still feels that way?
Well, okay. First of all, I'm about to turn 70, so I've slowed down, but. There's tons. What did you do there?
Don't forget.
But there's tons to do in Sarnia. You know what? I feel bad almost because like back even like 20 years ago, and yeah, that still put me 50-ish, but I was going out and there was like a lot of night spots and stuff. They don't exist anymore, right? So for the for the younger crowd.
Like what you mean, like bars type thing?
Well, yeah, nightclubs and stuff like that, dance clubs, anything. They just don't even exist anymore, right? I mean, they have a few bars that people frequent, and then it gets a little rowdy later on. But like they're just little bars, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to the 500 or 600 nightclubs that
There used to be several all the
yeah,
time. Right?
but not so much anymore. So that from that perspective, I feel bad for some of the younger kids. But for me now, I don't really care.
Yeah.
It's like I'm too old for
I
that
had my
shit.
time with it, right? Yeah, I'm going to bed early now, so I'm up
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
Once in a while, do you get stupid and try to stay up late, and then the next morning
Oh
you
no!
go,
Like we're out with friends, or we have friends over, or get invited out. Yeah, you still stay up and do it. But like seriously, no different. If I'm bored with the situation, I would just want to fall asleep. If I'm having fun, then catch me in the morning. Like
Yeah.
I mean, like I'll stay up all night and have, right, over the years.
Yeah.
And that was with just a little bit of alcohol. No other. And that's another thing. Check this one out. 70. Never smoked a joint, never did cocaine. And in the 80s, when it first came out, I had the money and the wherewithal to get involved. And that just terrified me. I have never done drugs, period. I smoke cigarettes, I drink alcohol. And that's it.
Yeah. You love to entertain.
Oh, I like
you
to have
you've
fun.
got a beautiful home here, and we're sitting out on the enclosed back porch, and
Only enclosed for another month.
right.
We're opening
and
it up.
it opens up. And like you, I missed it last year. I got invited and I couldn't go. But you have your birthday's December 30th, but you actually have a summer birthday party.
Let me tell you how that started. December 30th is a pretty shitty day to have a birthday. It's like Christmas. It's finally over.
Yeah. It's cold.
And tomorrow night is New Year's Eve, so I better get some rest tonight because I'm going out for New Year's Eve. Well, that's my birthday, December 30th. So it totally sucks, right? And for like 64 years, that's what I dealt with.
Yeah.
So then one year, on my 65th year, I come home and there's like 200 people in my backyard, a live band and caterers and like everything. And I go,
what's going on?
What's going on? Like, what? Did I miss an invite here or what? Like, happy birthday, happy 65th birthday, surprise.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, it's like 5 months before my birthday. Like, yeah, that
Didn't see that coming.
No, who would have?
Right.
That's the only way they're going to pull that shit over on me is like have it 5 months early.
Right, he'll never know.
So it was my 65th birthday around the pool and stuff, and it was wow, it was just so much fun. And why did I wait 65 years not to think of this before now?
Yeah.
I should have just had my birthday in the summer.
Yeah.
Because December 30th totally sucks.
Yeah, totally. I know Jennifer's birthday is December 28th, so
Yeah,
I totally get it. You, let's talk a little bit about Lisa. I remember a story. Now, I don't know if I should ask you to tell it first, then I tell my version. But I remember, sitting here one day, and you're like, God, I'm trying to come up with a couple of slogans here. And I remember you asking me, David, what you had like a list of 4 or 5, I think it was. And I remember, I think it was Art Chester used to say hello to a goodbye.
Yeah.
That was the one I suggested. And you wrote that down, and I thought, hey, how cool would that be if he picks the one that I thought would great? But you didn't. You went. But everything I touch turns to sold has really stuck. And I was thinking today when I was driving around and I hear Lisa on the radio saying it, and I'm thinking, how could anybody in this town not know who Lisa Aubin is? And that's really the point of it all, isn't it? Like,
well, sure it is. And that's from the marketing department here. That's flattering to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, but let me get back to that expression. I started in real estate in 1974.
Yeah.
And I think I may have even used that back then, right? But it was old then. That saying, everything I touch turns to soul, is probably 70, 80 years old.
Yeah.
When I started in 74, I had heard it and I thought it was catchy. I used it myself.
Oh, yeah.
What happened was when Lisa first got into real estate and she started actually selling quite a bit of real estate in a very short period of time, I said to her, wow, everything you touched turns sold. And she goes, what? I said, everything you touched turns sold. She goes, you have too much time on your hands. I said, no, wouldn't that be a good slogan? She goes, yeah, it's probably a really good slogan. But she says, where'd you get it? I said, it's old. Like, it's been around forever. She said, well, that means we can't use it. We have to be original. I said, no, you don't. I said, I'm going to tell you something. In marketing, use it. The only problem is you got to own it. And by owning it, you got to use it constantly and forever and always and always and always, right? And she goes, you really think we can use it? I said, sure we can use it. Yeah. Nobody's really used it in the past effectively enough that it was going to be branded to them. So all we got to do is use it effectively and brand it to you. Yeah. And that's what we did.
It's been so effective, in my opinion, that other people in real estate in this town,
now everybody's got a slogan.
Everybody's got to come up with something, which is awesome. You're right. I don't mind mentioning the competition. Like, no, put Sean on your lawn.
I'll be honest with you.
You got there's another guy who rhymes with keys, and it's like everybody's kind of jumped in, right? That's flattering. Got to be flattering to you.
Yeah,
because I think
imitation is the best form of
flattery. I think that came from what you and Lisa did there, and.
And even and the city of Sarnia are probably going to be pissed off, but like I was the first one to use directional corner signs to direct people into Lisa's listings.
Oh, is that right?
I was the first one to do that. Now they're freaking everywhere.
Yeah.
And the city.
What's
hates
interesting
it.
Though is Lisa, and she's awesome. Like,
no, she's totally awesome.
Yeah, like but I learned, like, I don't think she would sit here and do an interview with me because she's actually pretty introverted, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
you brought her out of her shell or pushed her out of her shell. A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. She's all right. Like if we were out as couples, 4 people, no problem, she's fine. She's gonna have fun. You'd never know. You put her in a group of 100 people, and it's
different, right? I was very shocked when she shared that with me.
No, she totally is like that. So every time I came up with some of my crazy, wacky ideas for marketing. We can't do that.
Right.
We can't do that.
Or do I got to be in front of the camera?
Yeah. No, we can't do that. And I go, what are you going to do? Be like a secret agent and slink around? Like it's real estate. You got to get yourself out there. You got to put yourself out there. That's the way it works. I said, you're not going to be able to just.
I think no, you're right. You can't be in spy mode. That's right. No. Ninja mode, whatever. I think if I were to interview her, my first question would be, what's it like to be married to John DeAndre?
That's funny. She'd probably laugh harder than me.
Right.
Well, I'll be honest with you. We have a lot of fun.
Amazing. You do. Even when I got here earlier, before we started the camera, it was kind of just chill and relax. Her mom was here. Yeah. And they were having a conversation.
I love her family. Ruby was here.
You could tell.
No. And anyway, we do laugh a lot.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's great, though.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I don't. I'll tell you. Like, I had a doctor's appointment. She goes, make sure to talk to your doctor about you're forgetting stuff. I go, what?
What are you talking about, hon? I forgot.
And she goes,
it was a fun conversation, let me tell you.
And I can't even curse on this show because I've been warned 15 times, but I did get angry and I used some choice words, but whatever.
It was a lot of fun.
But
she gave it right back to you, though.
I
She was leaving the room and she gave it right back to you. Let's talk about family. We haven't even gotten to, your daughters. I mean, this is
wow.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
No, they're I've been blessed.
Yeah,
I've been totally blessed. 3 beautiful daughters, and now you're gonna get me all mushy here, but no, I love them. I love them, and wouldn't trade them for a million sons. I don't know. I was your typical male wanted a son.
Yeah. Well, that's an Italian thing,
well,
is it?
Isn't it? Is it just an Italian
thing?
Or
I don't know.
Most men want a son.
Yeah, I get it.
Right? And I'll be honest with you, Madison was born 38 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was hoping it was a boy, but as soon as I met her, I was so happy to have her. And I never regretted it. She's been awesome. And then Hannah and Kennedy, They're just, you know what? They're I don't know, man. Like they make me feel loved.
Yes.
Which is a big thing coming from kids, right?
Yeah.
And I feel it, and I think that they're well aware of how much I love them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very proud of all of them too. I still got one in high school, but we'll get her going.
Yeah. That's one way to calm down John Durandrew, is just talk about his beautiful daughters. I've gotten the opportunity to get to know all of them.
Yeah.
Some more than others, like Madison and Hannah. I've met her a couple of times, but she's off to go be a dentist, right?
Yeah, she's in dental school right now.
Madison has fallen into, I don't say fallen, but she stepped into the real estate world. Did that put a bigger smile on your face because you're like, yeah,
you know what?
Or did it matter what she was going to do, or any of them for that matter?
You know what? Typically kids, right?
Yeah.
They hate what their parents do. And the reason they hate what their parents do is that they feel that they spend too much time working.
Right.
And they don't have enough time for them.
Right.
And specifically real estate consumes a lot of hours, right? So when Madison was
odd hours, I would say, even more like.
Yeah, and interrupting a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So when Madison was younger, especially in her teens, she was very resentful of what I did at the time, and that was real estate, right? So she had no desire to ever.
She went to school for photography, didn't she?
Yeah, she's got a photography degree, and then stayed in Toronto for a few years, and finally moved back to Sarnia. Worked with her mom for about 5 years. And then when she got pregnant with my granddaughter, Stella, she was pregnant, and she announced to me, she says, "Dad, I just want you to know I told Mom that I'm taking maternity leave and I'm not probably going to come back." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Do yourself a favor." I said, "I'm not trying to belittle motherhood because it's a big job, but the benefit of a newborn is when they first get home from the hospital, they eat, they poop, and they sleep. Right. And that's it. Like
take advantage of that time.
You're going to have like 15, 16 hours of them sleeping. They get up, they crap themselves, they want to get fed, and then they want to go back to sleep. And that's it. Repeat. So you're going to have a lot of time. And the real estate course is online now, so you can take it from home. It says, do yourself a favor, take the real estate course on your maternity leave. And she did. And the day that she gave birth, she moved to Milton because her husband took a job in Milton, and now I can't even help her. She's now in Milton starting out her new real estate career. She did all right. She did really well in Milton. Now was calling me 10 times a day, which was really nice. Initially, it was really nice because I'd get like 2 or 3 calls a month maybe from her because she had her life and family and stuff. But all of a sudden, 10 phone calls a day. Right. At first, that was really cool. And then after about a couple of weeks, I'm going, okay, I'm over it. Like you cut that back down to like a couple of times a month.
So and then ultimately she moved back here. Life changed for her.
Yeah.
And she's done very well with it. Right?
No, she's done extremely well.
Yeah. And then, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say she's probably going to do as well, if not better than Lisa.
There you go.
She's just getting to that stage right now.
Yeah, that's incredible.
She's
to see your children grow into, and she's happy.
No, and guess what? She regrets not having done it earlier.
Yeah,
A.
sure. Well,
B, it's real estate, which she swore she'd never do, and now she's doing it and loving it. Yeah. She's really, really good at it. Yeah, so that's amazing. I'm really happy for her. And like you said, Hannah is in dental school.
Yeah. She's doing well with that.
One out of 4 years gone now, and another 3 more years to go, and then she's a dentist.
And so, Kennedy's in there. She's still in high school. Does she have a direction?
She's not 100% sure, but I told her, I said, listen, I'm not paying for any life experiences to get a piece of paper that you're not going to use. So like, I'm not doing that again. Yeah.
If you want to be a rock star, I'll buy you the guitar.
Yeah. Like, Exactly, or I'll pay for a vacation in Europe, get some life experience that way, because I'm not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on an education for a piece of paper that you'll never use.
Right.
So unless you specifically know what you're doing, I says, I'm not going to just pay for it. So if you're not sure, you're not going to do a victory lap here for grade 13. You're not doing that because that's just a complete, well, yeah, that's a complete waste of time. I said, if you're not sure what you want, I said, you can go to the college and take some courses here locally. First of all, it's a lot cheaper. You're still living at home.
Yep.
And you can go there and learn.
Try to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper this way than me having to support you downtown Toronto, someplace like I did with Madison. And
sorry, Madison. I didn't mean.
I love you, Madison. But you're going to hear this for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the worst part. She's got a photography degree. Now she's in real estate, and
who takes the pictures for her?
She hires that stuff out, and I go, what? What the heck is this?
All
she
right.
goes, Dad, it's just.
So Kennedy.
Yeah, Kennedy. No, Kennedy's a sleeper. I think she's gonna.
She's gonna surprise Dad.
She's gonna surprise everyone.
Yeah.
But right now, she's not 100% sure which way she's going.
Well, are you supposed to be at this age? Kind of picking some direction, but just because you stuck with it forever.
I know. At this stage, I was well on my way.
That's right. But you're like, okay, and now I'll jump in there. Like you and I have known each other a long time, and I think we played some pool together in the pool league, and then and of course when I got into karaoke world, I saw you around and stuff. But like you've always been a friend to me and many others. But I know for me, it was always like, if I needed an opinion about something, like honestly, you'd tell me no or whatever.
Well,
what kind of friend would you be if you didn't? Was what you kind of always said to me, right? And I think it's important that we have friends like that we.
No, it is totally, and to be honest with you, you were on the ball because at that time I was very active in business.
Yep. Yeah.
And you wanted to be.
Yeah.
So you were just a young kid, and you'd call me up, and you'd literally buy me a coffee and come over to the house and sit out back, and we'd talk for a couple hours. Yeah. For at the time 75-cent coffee that you bought me at Tim Hortons.
I went to Starbucks the other day for the first time in forever, and I'm reminded why I'm not going back.
Yeah,
it's like $6 for anyway. But yeah,
I can't.
I would. I'd call you up, and we literally do that. We'd have coffee.
But you took the initiative, and it was probably back in those days at the beginning when we were getting to know one another. You did that fairly regularly.
Yeah,
once a month, once every other month type thing. You came regularly. Because I thought, Jesus Christ, him again? Okay. No, I was just joking. But you did come a lot, and I appreciated it, and I understood what you were trying to do. You were picking my brain, so that's cool. But that's good on you because
you like, like go to school, get good grades, or entrepreneur.
Me?
No, but I mean, like. If you were for your children, like even for Hannah to go be a dentist, like there's a business aspect tied to that, right? Yeah. And entrepreneurship is what you would put out there to people if that's something they want to do, or is that's a skill that can be learned?
Of course, it's learned. Who's born like that?
Nobody.
Yeah, like no, I've often said if I wasn't in real estate, and had to choose a different. I would do anything that was with commission because I'm going to work hard. Yeah. And I don't want to get paid the same as the guy beside me doing half as much work. I'm going to work hard.
Yep.
So if I work this hard, I want to get compensated based on my effort. Yeah. So I'd take straight commission over a salary any day of the week. I don't give a shit what it is. I would take that because I'm going to outwork everybody. And then I will make as much money as I want to make. Yeah. Versus taking a job and then having to wait for the owner to die and the son to screw up the company where I can buy it.
So what do you say then to, like, I mean, you see a lot of people online, hey, my son or my daughter's looking for work. If you know anybody, I've heard some people say, well, actually, why aren't they putting themselves out there? Why are you asking? I get mom and dad are asking, just putting it out there in case anybody knows. But all these, like, I don't know. I look around and I still see lots of opportunity right here in Sarnia.
There's tons of opportunity,
So
especially right now.
those that are, I say too, like you can work online. There's all kinds of things.
There's
right?
all sorts of opportunity even online.
So what's being missed from that person that's going, well, there's no opportunity in Sarnhole? Which
well, first of all, yeah, I don't like that.
No.
I don't like that term. Totally people that are disenchanted with our city. But guess what? Nothing's free. You want something right here in Sarnia, right here in Sarnia.
Yep.
I wasn't going to use that term, but that's what I was thinking.
No.
Right here, you can do as much as you want.
Yeah.
You can make as much as you want.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
I've never
leave
left.
Sarnia. No, neither have I. But what I'm saying is, anybody
It's out
using
there.
that as an excuse, and I don't want to generalize, but for the most part, a lot of kids today, they're just lazy. And I hate to say it, but they're just lazy.
You're calling a spade,
No,
I think.
I'm going to probably get people pissed for me saying it, but like seriously, I don't know.
You're
man.
generalizing. You're not
I know, and
saying
I
that's
am
everybody.
generalizing.
But I think
Not
that's
everybody,
like,
but
did
the most part.
did our parents or people back in the 60s, did they say the same thing about the kids back then too, or were they working harder? These kids today.
I'm probably sure they did, but what I'm telling you is that like,
I think there's more opportunity now because of the internet.
Well, A, the internet, but B, I'm telling you, there's never been this much disenchantment with having a career, this much disenchantment of actually working hard and being successful. Like, oh, you're one of them.
Right.
What's wrong with being successful? What's wrong with making money?
Yeah, nothing.
We
do kind of frown on it. A little
I
bit.
grew up.
If you make too much money,
why?
then it's like, yeah.
All the more. Honest to God, I love people that make more money than I ever even thought of. Yeah. I think I follow them. I want to know what the hell they're doing. I'm not jealous. I wish I could do it myself, but I'm not jealous.
Yeah.
I met a gentleman on vacation just recently, and this is all. And literally, I just met him. I don't even know this gentleman, but he's from Canada, and I don't want to get too specific because then I'll make him feel uncomfortable. But he moved out east just before the pandemic.
Okay.
Him and his family, they were building themselves a home on the ocean.
All right.
This is all in the last 5 years. He moves out there. He knows no one. He just decided he wanted to live on the ocean, and they went and they built the house. Through the course of building the house, he couldn't get this, he couldn't get that, he couldn't get this. All of a sudden, he gets into the overhead doors for the garages, and then got into industrial and commercial overhead power doors. And then he was, through COVID, started having trouble getting glass. So he started buying aluminum, making his own frames, but then he couldn't get the glass anymore, so he started making glass. In 5 years, he went from moving out there, didn't know what he was going to be when he grew up, as he lived on the ocean, to building 3,300 square foot warehouse, filling it with glass producing equipment, aluminum frame equipment, and overhead garage doors and everything else. He's built an empire in 5 years. And I sat there and I said, I'm so proud of you. That's like amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
couldn't buy the glass, I'll make my own.
Exactly. So here's this guy in his 50s. He wasn't like a spring chicken. He wasn't an old man, but he's like right there. But he basically moved out there not knowing what he was going to do.
If I can't get the lemons for the lemonade, I'll grow the lemons.
Exactly. So he did this all inside of 5 years. Now he's got a home on the ocean. He's got a 33,000 square foot, and he's just building a second building exactly the same to house, because he's too busy. He's now making glass for high rises all across Ontario. Right. Ontario, all across Canada.
Amazing.
And they're shipping it. And now he's trying to get into the States. And he's making this all from out east. Yeah. And this is all in 5 years.
Yeah.
It's the opportunity.
There's no age limit to success and even getting started in whatever that looks like, right?
But you talk about no. But what I'm saying is, this gentleman, I can't even believe that how many times I told him how proud of him I was, because in 5 years he did this in 5 years, like from just before COVID till now, he's done it all, and I kept saying, I'm really proud of you. Like I felt like a proud papa, and he's not my son.
What has John DeAndrea not done yet that he wants to do?
Oh, there's a lot of things that I haven't done.
Yeah.
A lot of
Are you still going to go for them?
No.
Is there one that you can still do?
Yeah, there's a few things that I'm going to still try and do. Although there's, you look at some projects and that would be really good and probably make me a lot of money. But I'm 70 and it's probably going to be 10 or 15 years before I get this finished. So
you're not going to open the nightclub?
No. No. But especially more specifically to real estate, you can't. A lot of these projects are 10, 15 years. For example, the 100 acres that I bought behind Zares to Wellington Street, it took me 15 years to get all the streets in, get all the houses built, because we're not Toronto. You can't just put up 800 homes in 18 months. It takes years to build that, for the community to absorb that many new houses, right? It just takes too long. So, but that's Sarnia. Did I do well? Yes, it took me 15 years.
Yeah, right.
So I don't have another 15 years.
Well, then I'll look forward to seeing what you come up with. And
I need something a little more abbreviated.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if I know you, you'll do something till the day you go.
I'm gonna try and keep busy. But right now, I'll be honest with you.
You're gonna keep Lisa busy.
No, Lisa and Madison. Plug in Madison Twos there. But yeah, Lisa Aubin and Madison Twos. They keep me busy enough. Probably as busy as I want to be, and I do it very reasonably.
Right.
I do it as dad and as husband, so I get nothing.
John, thanks so much. I'm really proud and grateful to call and have you as a friend, and appreciate what you do on social media. I love Sarnia. Even your personal stuff on your Facebook, it does make me smile in the morning, and I just go, I don't know if I should call him today or not. Like, maybe he needs a hug or whatever. But
I'm glad you came by.
Yeah,
and I'm actually very proud of you too, because we've had these conversations like even 20 years ago.
Yeah,
and I remember even telling you, do what you want to do. And I knew that this was something that you always wanted to do, but you were getting a little bit in the weeds with some of it, but I knew, and you just had to figure out how to monetize it, which you did, which I'm happy for you for.
Well, from behind the scenes, a little help from a friend like you.
Well,
so, thanks, buddy. Again.
Thank you, man.
All right. And sorry there were no F-bombs in here. I know there's a couple times he probably wanted to, and then he went.
Oh, there was probably a dozen times.
At least a dozen. But it's been a great conversation. So the way I end it is click the like and the love as always. But please click the share button so we share John and everybody I have here on the show, share their stories. But as always, that's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend.
Love you all.
See you next time right here on the show. Bye for now.